Hello all, and welcome to another episode of MSBA Quick Bytes. I'm Professor Dominic Sellitto, and today we're going to be kicking off our Gestalt series, and we're going to start by thinking outside of the box. You see, when I build my data visuals, I tend to focus on two principles of visual perception the most. Those principles are the principle of closure and the principle of closeness. We'll talk about closeness in a little bit, but I want to start with closure. See, the principle of closure states that our brains as humans are uniquely capable of spotting patterns in imagery. When we spot those patterns, we're able to fill in gaps, see things effectively that aren't actually there. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you look over here, you might perceive that as a picture of a zebra. But I need you to look a little bit closer at it. And if you do, what you'll see is that that's not a picture of a zebra. In fact, it's just a series of shapes that are shaded in black with white space in between them. There are no lines connecting those shapes. So there's no picture of a zebra. But our brains are recognizing the pattern in these shapes, and filling in the blanks for us to create the picture of the zebra. And I want you to hold on to that thought for a second while we talk about closeness. Closeness or proximity states that, well, things that are close together we perceive as related to one another. So again, if you look over here, you might see 8 blue squares. But you've probably noticed that really what it is 2 groupings of 4 blue squares. Because, right, 4 blue squares over there are close to one another, and so we perceive them as a group. And the 4 blue squares over here, well, the same thing. So what does this have to do with data visualizations? See, one of the biggest challenges that you will face, and that I face when I'm building visuals, is this concept of clutter. Things that exist in our charts that at best just make them look worse, right? And at absolute worst cause a detrimental impact to our audience's perception of the visual. See, in this table here, you might not see anything wrong. You might see, well, we've got product categories and years, and we've got numbers and arrows and things. What's wrong with this graph? Well, nothing in the data, but I see a number of things wrong in the overall visual. See, by utilizing the principles of closeness and closure, I can remove all of those bars, shift the spacing a little, and accomplish the same thing in a more visually appealing way. You'll get the same insights out of this. It's just easier to look at. And you might think, that is such a small change. How can that have any measurable impact on the audience perception? And I want you to start thinking about your audience's brains like you would a computer. See, every element that you include in your charts and dashboards takes your audience more to process. And your job when you're communicating these visuals, when you're presenting this story, is to have all of their processing power focused on your insights, the conclusions that you're trying to communicate through the data. And every extra thing, every extra line, every extra bar that we add to that causes the audience's brains to have to process things more and more to get to the nuggets of information. And if we were to just remove those lines, if we were to just imagine that our audience is capable of filling in the gaps and recognizing that when things are close to one another, they are related to one another, then they can focus all of that processing power on the insights you're trying to communicate instead of the structure of your charts. And in doing so, your audience will focus more on the insights and the impacts that you're trying to communicate. Thanks, and have a great day.